देखिए last year 33,000 young people committed suicide. We had a session on mental health. There were a number of sessions on the environment, on the need for looking at saving the planet. Geopolitics के ऊपर कई सेशंस हैं. आज सारे एम्बेसडर्स आ रहे हैं. Ambassador of America, Ambassador of Germany, the Ambassador, the High Commissioner from Australia, and the UK. We have the Ambassador of Spain. They're all coming, and we're going to look at some of the issues around geopolitics as well. Oppenheimer, जैसे आप लोगों को पिक्चर मालूम है, कई सारे Academy Awards के लिए नॉमिनेट किया गया है. और the Oppenheimer writer, the writer on whose work Oppenheimer was based, Kai Bird, इसका सेशन अभी हुई है. Travel writing has always been part of our milieu here at the Jaipur Festival. तो कई travel sessions हैं. 24 अलग-अलग languages, भाषाओं के साथ हम जुड़े हुए हैं. Indian languages, 16 Indian languages translations के साथ भी हम चाह रहे हैं कि लोगों को वो किताब उनके पास आए. Some amazing writers all the way from the northeast, from Kerala, from Karnataka, from Bengal and Maharashtra and Gujarat. Some of those sessions are amazing. Cricket के ऊपर एक खास सेशन था. एंड आने वाले परसों हम कल संडे को हम स्पोर्ट्स के ऊपर राज्यवर्धन राठौर जो आप जानते हैं यहाँ पे जो सिल्वर अवार्ड मेडल विन किया था उनके साथ, और मनोज बडाले जो राजस्थान रॉयल का ओनर है उनके साथ एक सेशन रखते हैं. एवरी इवनिंग म्यूज़िक प्रोग्राम हियर एट द चारबाग. अलग अलग म्यूजिशियंस हर जगह से. मॉर्निंग म्यूजिक to calm everybody down, again classical music, great music from across the world. आज एक स्विस ग्रुप आए थे. और कल रात को आमेर फोर्ट पे राजस्थान टूरिज्म के साथ खास हेरिटेज प्रोग्राम होता है गणेश पोल पे with तनुश्री शंकर and विष्णु वर्मा. So that will on Monday this festival will conclude. जैसे आप देख रहे हैं आसपास लोग यंग पीपल बहुत संख्या भारी संख्या से आए हुए हैं. यहाँ पे आइए, खाना डिटेल सब कुछ मिलेगा यहाँ पे. क्या
हायलों का बदनाम करते हैं, लोग का बदनाम कर दे. तुम्हें दिल लगी भूल जानी पड़ेगी, तुम्हें दिल लगी भूल जानी पड़ेगी. मोहब्बत की राहों में आकर तो देखोगा, मोहब्बत की राहों में आकर में कमा नीरब कर में मर जा.
रहते हैं, बचते हैं दुनिया के बदलाव के साथ. पुरानी कहानियाँ, पुराने शब्द, नई कहानियाँ सब जुड़कर जयपुर लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल में हम प्रस्तुत करने की कोशिश करते हैं. ऑन दिस लास्ट डे आई फील एन इमेंस सेंस ऑफ सैडनेस, जैसे कि घर से विदाई होती है. बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ यू, दिस लाफ्टर, दिस इंटेंसिटी, इसके बिना अगले दिन बहुत मुश्किल से बीतेंगे. मगर सच बताऊं तो मैं आज शाम को ही लिखूंगी अपनी डायरी में जितने मेरे ये पिछले 5 दिनों में आइडियाज़ आ रहे थे, ख्याल आ रहे थे, बिफोर आई फॉरगेट देम मैं ऑलरेडी अगले साल की तैयारी करने लग जाऊंगी. सो थैंक यू एवरीबॉडी फॉर
This is not the end. We've already begun working on next year's festival. We've already got acceptances from Monica Ali, Maggie O'Farrell, Stephen Greenblatt, a strong wish to attend from Tilda Swinton, Fiona Hill, Robert Service, Miranda Seymour, many, many more. I won't go through the names, but it is going to roll on and on. We look forward to seeing you back next year at the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 series Jaipur Literature Festival.
15 years ago, Vera Michalski came to the festival and her foundation started supporting us. We wanted to acknowledge that. Vera, please come on stage. May I ask Namita to give Vera a small token of our appreciation. Vera's headed back to Switzerland and we just wanted to thank her. Vera makes it a point that irrespective of which part of the world she is, she takes that time out to jet in for a few days here, and we really appreciate that.
Has never failed us, even in our where we most needed it. It's an unbelievable support year in, year out. The big round of applause. We can't do this without her.
Thank you all for providing year after year such a marvelous festival. Every year we find new writers, new ideas, and it's always an enchantment. Thank you, and the audience in Jaipur is so fantastic. The questions, I've never seen any other festival with young people so committed and so intelligent in their questions. Congratulations.
To do so because of the rain, but we wanted to come and have her come up and say a few words. Gayatri Rathore.
Thank you, Sanjoy. At the outset, let me extend a very heartfelt thanks to Teamwork and Team GLF for this beautiful 17th edition of GLF. And I think everyone, whether be it from Jaipur, whether coming from different parts of the country or from different parts of the world, enjoyed every moment, every session of it. And definitely it has become a melting pot of authors, speakers, writers, delegates from all across the globe. The best thing, I would not take much of your time, but the best thing that has been initiated is to focus on sustainability and responsible tourism, responsible practices. I must also congratulate the host, Clouds Group, Apur Kumarji and his team for being the trail.
What we're going to do is Veer is going to introduce the issue. We're going to give each debater 3 minutes at 2.30 seconds. There'll be a drum roll. At 3 minutes, they'll be drummed off. At the end of the first round, they'll be given rebuttals for 2 minutes each. Again, there'll be a drum roll at 1 minute 30 seconds. After which, Veer is going to pose questions and there'll be a panel discussion. He'll open it up to the House, take 15 minutes of question and answers, and then we'll go back to each of the debaters and give them 2 minutes for their closing statement. Veer Sanghvi.
Thanks, Sanjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This may actually be the biggest house we've had for this debate in the years that I've done it. So thank you all for coming. And while I think Sanjoy has thanked nearly everybody involved with this festival, there are 3 people who I think haven't been thanked enough. So thank you, Sanjoy. Thank you, Namita. Thank you, Will Dalrymple. Thank you for imagining this and creating the greatest show on earth. Thank you. You're going to see that when speakers take too long, they will be drummed off with a sound like that. One thing I've noticed about the JLF, and you noticed this too, I think, is that they always get the timing right. So you won't have anyone speaking too long, or even if they speak too long, they'll be drummed off so you won't be able to hear them. Okay, the rules are actually fairly complicated and yet simple. It's essentially that everybody gets to speak 3 times. So we start first with the regular debate, and the people speak for 3 minutes, after which they're drummed off if they don't finish in enough time. Then they come back and they do rebuttals for 2 minutes. Then we open it up to the panel, to the speakers, and to all of you. And then they come back yet again for closing statements. And then Sanjoy polls the audience, and we'll see if we've changed any minds. I remember in previous years, opinion was more evenly divided. This time, it seems pretty clear which side you're in favor of now. Let's see if you'll be on the same side at the end. Okay, now the order of speakers has nothing to do with me. It's been decided by each side themselves. So let me first ask to propose the motion, Mohit Satyendra. Mohit?
Thanks very much, Veer. You could call me prejudiced. As the oldest associate of Teamwork, it's in my interest that free speech survives, because without free speech there would be no JLF. You wouldn't like that, would you? Free speech is very closely akin to freedom. Without free speech you don't have freedom, and without freedom you don't have free speech. The history of society is this struggle between freedom and power. It's a struggle that never ends. And 5,000 years of history of civilization teach us that neither vanishes. You give me a Kansa and I give you a Lord Krishna. You give me the all-powerful Catholic Church, which cloaks its power in the secrecy of a language which nobody understands, and I'll give you a Martin Luther, who at great expense and threat of persecution vanished, translated the Latin of the Bible into a language which every German could understand, into a then contemporary language, and opened up the church, founded a new, more accessible form of the Christian church, the Protestant church. And when you inject technology into this mix, surveillance now, persecution then, you had the Gutenberg press. Now the Gutenberg press could have equally been used by the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church. They were not able to prevent the spread of this new Bible. They could not control the new technology. New technology comes not from incumbents, it comes from behind. And therefore, anybody who thinks that they can control technology by controlling what exists today has got it backward. Come to more contemporary times. The most surveilled society in the world, I would submit, the Soviet society. It had its Pravda to preach the so-called truth, and it had the KGB. But the dissenters had the Samizdat, the cyclo-styled newsletters which told the truth as they saw it. Stalin had his Gulag, but literature had its Soviet scene. The hand of the tyrant lies really heavy on the present, but the future is written by the moving hand. And it is to this future of the moving hand that I propose that free speech will survive. Thank you.
Explain this with an example from my own country in Britain. In universities, we pride ourselves on the fact that our members of the university are able to say what they think within legal boundaries. However, there have been a number of recent cases where women have expressed gender-critical views and have been attacked so heavily with the aid of technology that they have had to leave their jobs. This is not a question about whether gender-critical views are valid or not, but rather whether you have the right to express them. Those critical of the professor and people like J.K. Rowling believe this is defamation and goes beyond the limits of what free speech allows. But in a recent legal case a few weeks ago, it has been found that the women's rights to free speech had been denied. So in this case, free speech did survive. However, my fear is that many people have been frightened to see the way that gender-critical women have been so strongly attacked for expressing freely their opinion.
Just two starters. As walking in, Samsung was actually speaking about its technology and the Tab S9, I believe. Second, Sanjoy Rai was congratulating and thanking, not congratulating, thanking the police personnel who were sitting here, and how all the JLF people, including all of you in the audience and all of us, were grateful to them for all the services they have given, which I believe comes under the category of surveillance. Thirdly, I carry a mobile phone, do you? Yes, you do. Do you have a tab? Well, some kind of tab or laptop or networking. Do you have drones which are surrounding everywhere around? Yes, you do. Do you have satellites in the world? Yes, you have satellites everywhere. Do I have freedom of speech? I'm speaking here. What else do I need? I do have freedom of speech and I will continue to have freedom of speech. What surveillance technology might do, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. I have to be answerable for what I do. I can't be an Iron Rat or a Fountainhead and say I can do what I like. I can't say I'm in America so I can pick up a gun and shoot anybody I like because it's my right. My rights have to be limited somewhere. And surveillance technology, ladies and gentlemen, I think is here to stay. We have to in fact understand it far more. It's a time yesteryears when the Greek times, when everybody spoke, you were answerable for what you did. You were identified. Pinky Anand said this. Pinky Anand can be prosecuted. Today, no Pinky Anand, just everybody is speaking. WhatsApp generates some information. It goes across several services. But for technology and surveillance technology, Nirbhaya's murderers would not have been found. Nobody would have found out what happened. But for technology and surveillance technology, Afzal Guru would not have been hanged. The parliament attack would have gone off scot-free. But for surveillance technology, 300 terrorists would not have been caught after 9/11. But for surveillance technology, you wouldn't have an approximately 30 terror attacks being foiled. This is what we are.
I'm going to begin in a very annoying fashion by objecting. Am I losing time? Okay. I'm going to begin in a somewhat annoying fashion by objecting slightly to how the motion that we're debating today is framed. So, in asking whether free speech will survive privacy violations and surveillance technology, the motion presupposes a kind of deterministic relationship between technology on the one hand and political consequences on the other. The motion thus asks us to predict the consequences of these powerful new technologies, when really it is up to us, the citizens of ostensibly precariously democratic societies, to decide whether we will allow these technologies to be used to further erode our civil liberties, our right to protest, our right to dissent, our right to contest the ruling power. So it's important, I think, to remember that free speech is not the historical default. It's not just a natural or given reality to be potentially disrupted by some new technology. Free speech, rather, is a historically fleeting, rare, precious thing whose value we usually recognize too late, and which we are...
What I can say, because papers are being monitored under the World Freedom Index. India stands at 142 out of 180. The world's largest democracy. So I end by saying, गालिब की बात मुझे याद आती है, हर एक बात पे कहते हो तुम के तुम क्या है, तुम्हें कहो कि ये अंदाज़ गुफ्तगू क्या है. Thank you so much. Okay.